Hello there. Today I would like to talk about metacognition. According to Webster Merriam Dictionary, metacognition is awareness or analysis of one's own learning or thinking process. Research on metacognition has demonstrated the values of monitoring one's own cognitive process. Meanwhile, dictionary.com online defined as psycho-thinking about one's own mental process. Wikipedia defined as cognitions about cognition, thinking about thinking, knowing about knowing, becoming aware of one awareness, and higher order thinking skills. In 1976, Flavor defined metacognition as knowledge about cognition and control of cognition. Brown in 1987 mentions about metacognition in psychological literature has two areas as known as knowledge about cognition and regulations of cognition. Andreas Demetrius' theory, one of the neo-Piagetian theories of cognition, used the term hypercognition to refer to self-monitoring, self-representation, and self-regulation process which are regarded as integral components of the human mind. Then metacognition is a regulatory system that helps a person understand and his or her own cognitive performance. Metacognition allows people to take charge of their own learning. It involves awareness of how they learn and evaluations of their learning needs, generating strategies to meet these needs, and then implementing the strategy as cited by Hackers in 2009. Many theories organize the skills of metacognition into two complementary processes that make it easier to understand and remember. According to the theory, metacognition consists of two processes. One is knowledge of cognition, which has three components, such as knowledge of factors that influence one's own performance, knowing different types of strategy to use for learning, and knowing what strategy to use for specific learning situation. The second process is regulations of cognition, which involve such as setting goals and plannings, monitoring and controlling learning, and evaluating one's own regulation, that is assessing result and strategies used. Then how metacognition applied in teaching and learning? First, during formal teaching and learning and in the activities, teachers should ask questions that allow learners to reflect on their own learning processes and strategies. In collaborative learning, ask them to reflect on the role they play when problem solving in teams. Second, the teachers should emphasize the importance of personal reflection during and after learning experiences to foster self-reflection. Encourage learners to critically analyze their own assumptions and how they may have influenced the learning. Third, encourage self-questioning. Foster independent learning by asking learners to generate their own questions and answer them to enhance better understanding. The questions can be related to meeting their personal goal. Fourth, teach strategy directly. Teach appropriate metacognitive strategies as a part of learning process. Fifth, promote autonomous learning when learners have some domain knowledge encourage participation in challenging learning experiences. They will then be forced to construct their own metacognitive strategies. 6. Provide access to mentors. Many people learn best by interacting with peers who are slightly more advanced. Promote experiences where novice can observe the proficient use of a skill and then gain access to the metacognitive strategies of their mentors. 7. Solve problems with a team. Cooperative problem solving can enhance metacognitive strategies by discussing possible approaches with team members and learning from each other. 8. Think aloud. Teach learn how to think aloud and report their thoughts while performing a difficult task. A knowledgeable partner can then point out errors in thinking of the individual can use this approach for, for increased self-awareness during learning. Another approach to thinking aloud is the walking out loud approach. 9. Self-explanation. Self-explanation in writing or speaking can help learners improve their comprehensions of a difficult subject. Last but not least, 10. Provide opportunities for making errors. When learners are given the opportunity to make errors while in training, such as during simulations, it simulates reflection on the cause of the errors. Why metacognition is so crucial? With metacognition, one acquired systematic in thinking. They can generate proper ideas and with firmly. They have deep and strong mental capacity to solve complex issues or problems. Besides that, it's also developed behavior of self-esteem among the learners. They also acquire technical skills, soft skills, and futuristic career orientation, such as artificial intelligence in the third platform industrial revolution 4.0. Contribution to the communities and nation tends to become productivity, sense of belonging, values and norms adherence. Metacognition is in line with 21st century learning, which required our learners to become creative, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and adherence to the value in our society. With metacognition, we expect our students can model thinking strategies from their teachers, could implement self-assessment, could, could implement self-reflective learning, and the most important thing, the students can self-regulated learners. Teachers modeling involves showing students specific example of how to use a learner strategy, as cited by Giardiolo in 1998, Lambert in 2000, known as a Think Aloud. When involved in assessing their own academic growth, students become more awareness of the learning goals and result of the effort. Self-reflective learners. Encourage self-reflective learners. When you describe appropriate learning behavior, you can encouraging students to explore their understanding about how they learn, as cited by Ferris and Ferris in 2001 and William et al. 2002. Self-regulated learners is the most important things. With the metacognition, we allowed the students to be independent learners. So by that, teachers should explain the value of metacognitive activity, help less proficient students, assist students in overcoming self-defeating, coach students as they will work through analytical tasks, remind students that effective reading is an active process, develop creative problem-solving activities, encourage independent learning by providing appropriate self-monitoring materials such as checklists, reading logs, and self-assessment survey. 7. Model the type of thinking needed to solve problems by using a think aloud approach. Promote the development of questioning skill through direct instruction. Promote student talking and thinking skill. Promote pleasure in reading by providing materials that engage students by connecting with the interest. Last but not least, continue to emphasize metacognitive awareness throughout the school year. By then, that's all I can say about what is metacognition. Thank you.